the young and the restless spoilers. Diane Jenkins had always been a woman of ambition, strength, and undeniable determination, but when it came to her son, Kyle Abbott, everything felt fragile and uncertain. She had worked tirelessly to rebuild the relationship that she had broken so many years ago. She knew she had made mistakes, grievous mistakes, but she believed in second chances. She believed that she could make things right. And most of all, she believed that Kyle, her only child, would one day forgive her. But Kyle wasn't ready for forgiveness. Not yet. Not after everything Diane had put him through. The betrayal still stung, and the wounds hadn't healed. Diane's decision to fire Kyle from Jabot, their family business, had been the ultimate act of cruelty in his eyes. She had tossed him aside in a moment of desperation, and no matter how many times she apologized, Kyle couldn't shake the feeling of abandonment. The very idea of seeing her made his blood boil. Diane knew this, but she was determined to try once more. She wanted her son back. She needed to fix what had been broken. And so, against her better judgment, she went to see Kyle, hoping for a conversation, a moment of reconciliation, even if just a sliver of hope. She found him in his office, surrounded by the business papers that once bound them together. "Kyle, we need to talk," Diane said softly, her voice heavy with regret. Kyle looked up from his desk, his eyes cold and distant. "There's nothing to talk about, Diane," he replied, his tone sharp. He rarely used her name, only when he wanted to create distance. "I told you before, I don't want to see you. Not now. Not ever." Diane flinched at the sound of her son's rejection, but she pressed on, desperate for him to hear her. "Kyle, please. I know I hurt you. I know I made mistakes, but I'm trying to make things right. I've stepped down from Jabot. I'm not involved in the business anymore. I just want to fix this between us. I need you to understand how sorry I am." Kyle's face twisted in anger. He stood up, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. "You think quitting Jabot fixes everything? You think that changes what you did to me?" He shook his head, his voice rising. "You fired me. Your own son. You kicked me out of the family business like I was nothing. And now you expect me to just forgive you? To forget all the times you put your ambition ahead of our family? I didn't mean for things to get this bad, Kyle. I thought I was protecting you," Diane began, but Kyle cut her off. "Protecting me?" he spat. "You didn't protect me, Diane. You destroyed me. And you destroyed our relationship. I'm done with you. You're nothing but a reminder of all the worst parts of my life." Diane felt her heart breaking in that moment. She had known this would be difficult, but she hadn't expected the depth of Kyle's anger. She had tried to be strong, to stay calm, but the weight of his words was too much. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Kyle, please, I'm your mother. I love you. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying." Kyle's eyes blazed with fury. "If you love me, then do me a favor," he said, his voice low and menacing. "Get out of Genoa City. Leave. And don't come back. Maybe then I can finally stop hating you." The words hit Diane like a punch to the gut. She stood frozen for a moment, stunned by the venom in his voice. She had always hoped there would be a way back, that Kyle would soften, but now she realized the depth of his resentment. Her son wanted nothing more than for her to disappear from his life completely. Diane's eyes filled with tears. She had fought so hard to reclaim her place in Kyle's life, but now she saw the truth. Her presence only caused him pain. Maybe leaving was the only way to give him peace, even if it meant losing him forever. Without another word, Diane turned and walked out of the room, her heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. She left Chancellor, left the building that had once been her second home, and headed back to the house she shared with Jack. Her mind was made up. She would leave Genoa City for good. If Kyle wanted her gone, she would give him that. It was the least she could do after everything she had put him through. Back at home, Diane sat down at her desk and pulled out a piece of paper. She knew she couldn't just disappear without a word. Jack deserved an explanation. He had been there for her through everything, had loved her despite her flaws, and she couldn't leave without saying goodbye. The letter she wrote was short but heartfelt. She explained that she was leaving, not because she wanted to, but because Kyle needed her to. She couldn't stay in a place where she was only causing harm. She thanked Jack for everything, for his love, his support, and his patience. But most of all, she asked him to look after Kyle. Even if her son couldn't forgive her, she hoped that one day, he would find peace.